don't think, should I go to school? Think, does what I like to do require going to school? I graduated high school last year. My goal was to make as much as an entry-level job. I rode through two 50% drawdowns and I had full confidence that it would ride through. The compounding got way too fast. It got to the point where if I went through another 50% drawdown, I would be emotionally wrecked. Talk to everyone, talk to the top traders, because they're more responsive than you think. Market, if you don't think for yourself, you're not profitable. That's the end of that. Hey guys, it's been a while since I've provided an update on my trading, and I just kind of want to document that right now for my future self, and hopefully for others if you've been following my journey. I'm still decently active on Twitter. If you want to check me out at Xander _Odom, I believe. It'll be in the description. But anyways, around this month, pretty much within the last 10 days, it was my 1-year anniversary of becoming full-time as a trader. I graduated high school last year, and I took the gap year, so I did not go to college, and I will not be going to college because it isn't for me. And, you know, I mean, you really just need to look at where you want to go, and if you have a good reason that you actually like doing what you do, and you're passionate about it, and you see it scalable to the point where you get exactly what you want in the future. That's what I see trading as. You know, maybe for you that's being a doctor or whatever it may be, and you go to school. You know, don't think, should I go to school? Think, you know, does what I like to do require going to school? That's just my quick little thing on that. Very glad I made the decision to follow trading and not go to college. Yeah, that is because I've been very successful with my trading so far. I've beat my expectations with how I would do in this year. My goal was to make as much as an entry-level job with a college degree, and I've succeeded at that. But I'm nowhere near where I'm striving for. This is just the first step. And I'm very confident I'll get there. I don't have a specific time frame, but I have some hopes. But anyways, yeah, so at the start of my gap year, I was unprofitable and I had a consistently downtrending equity curve, so I was losing money pretty much every month, but I felt I was learning a lot. And I've released a couple videos that are just like evergreen, like golden videos that I would recommend. I'm gonna put them down in the comments. But one of those is my recommendation on your steps to progression. So the first step is, you know, join a chat room, learn the basics for trading. Make sure they're not scammed completely, but make sure they teach good basic fundamentals. And when you find out which one that is, you know, join the chat room, stay in there for 6 months, learn the basics, make connections. That's the biggest thing. Network, talk to everyone. Talk to the top traders, because they're more responsive than you think. And yeah, once you learn the basics in those rooms, you need to leave them because they become a distraction, and you cannot get in the habit of just listening to their advice nonstop. You have to think for yourself in the market. If you don't think for yourself, you're not profitable. That's the end of that. You have to think for yourself. And you have to have your own style. You have to curate it. You have to curate it to, based off of your review, you know, look at your actual trading and see, like, hey, what is losing me money? What is making me money? What are my strengths? How can I compound my strengths? How can I cut out my weaknesses? So yeah, 6 months in, or however long it takes you to learn the basics, leave that chat room, and then I would say focus on a system, you know, build a process out of what you've learned based on review. You'll have a good sample size, hopefully like 100, 200 plus trades to look at, and kind of see like, all right, what do I make money on? What do I lose? What do I like trading? What do I really understand? That setup might only come around once or twice a week, but you know, the goal is to make money. And if you know you're very confident in this one setup, you know, systematize it, which means, you know, make it clear, focus your time on this one process, you know, just exploit it, learn every little bit of it, and, you know, you'll start seeing your equity curve go up. You'll start seeing it do pretty good. And if you have a habit of like bad discipline, like you need to get that sorted out. Like build systems to prevent things from happening. And over the long period, the systems kind of just build into your habits and you don't repeat those mistakes. But if you don't build in the systems to cut out bad habits, you will never be a successful trader and you'll never keep your money. That's number one. But, you know, number two is, you know, stick to that system, build it. A lot of people won't have like a fully 100% system. That's fine. In that video, I said it's probably ideal for new traders to have a 100% systematic system. That means like you have a guaranteed like entry exit risk signal. You know, it's the same every time based on like a signal or like something that's repeatable and requires zero emotion or thinking, because as a beginner, you really don't know what is right, and you'll learn over time. Your intuition will improve, and that's where I've gotten to. So back to my journey, for the first 5 months of my gap year, I was fully systematic. So I had a system. I traded the exact same way every single day, looked for the same setup, entered the same way, risked, exited the same way, and that was around break even. And I started making a little bit, like really not significant, like it'd be like boom, boom, boom. I make 5 times my risk per trade on a week, and then maybe the next week I lost 3 hours. So it was very choppy is the best way to describe it. At first, it was very choppy, and that system was all right. But then I found a good setup for myself, and I systematized it. And most importantly, I'll share what I did with my account, you know, my risk method. This is what really, really compounded me. I see a lot of traders with, you know, good performance, but they're not sizing up systematically. They're sizing up discretionary, which I think systematic just makes the most sense. I don't see why you would, you know, use your discretion to size up and down. Well, okay, certain case scenarios apply. Like if a setup is A++, and you're just like, you're fully confident in that setup, then sure, size up, use a lot more size. But I'm talking like, what's your 1R? Like, what's your risk per trade on the average B setup? That should be adjustable per day based on your previous performance. So like risking 1% or 2% of your entire account. What I did though is I had my account, let's say it was $30,000. What I did was, you know, PDT is 25,000, so you can't drop below that $25,000 point. So what I did was, okay, I have this let's say, let's risk $3,000, risk of ruin. Look up risk of ruin, see what that is. But I have this $3,000. If I lose this $3,000, I'm in big trouble. So I'm going to risk this $3,000. I'm not gonna use a percentage risk of my entire account, because the likelihood of me drawing down below that $25,000 point is incredibly high. So I'm gonna base my risk off of a $3,000 partition of my $30,000 account. So of that $3,000, I risked 3% of that per trade. And you can imagine, if you plug it into Excel and kind of run some simulations, you see that if you have even a decent system, you're going to skyrocket and you're gonna really compound your risk crazy fast. And it's true, crazy fast if you have a good system. And that is why, you know, you really only need one good system. You don't need to be trading all this. Just pick the best one that you have and focus on that. Cut out the weaknesses and improve the strengths. So I did that, and I've compounded it. I've made many R since then, and it was about I would say 2 months after my gap year that I became profitable, that I bottomed out on my equity curve and started uptrending. And ever since there, it's been parabolic, just because of this sizing method and my discipline to keep doing the same setup. And I also see a lot of people who have systems that are good for only periods of the market cycle, and then they go really bad and they go into a huge drawdown. And what I would say to that is, if you look far back enough, was your system profitable back then? Did it always persevere through the drawdowns? If yes, then I would give it more chance. I rode through, I think it was like 50% drawdowns of that account partition. So let's say I grew that $3,000 account to like 10,000. Well, then, I think there was a week where I drew it down to 5,000. But since I'm risking only a portion of my account, I'm not as stressed, although I was stressed during the time. But I had belief in my system because I had back tested a couple years back, and I had full confidence that it would ride through. And during this drawdown, I took my lessons and I implemented them. And since these last two drawdowns, I haven't had a big drawdown since. And that's just because I've implemented and I've, made my criteria just a little bit better. So yeah, I've improved over time, and I've kept the sizing up. I actually did size down once I passed a certain threshold. The compounding got way too fast. It got to the point where if I went through another 50% drawdown, I would be emotionally wrecked, and it would just be dumb to risk that much at that point. So I cut my risk to like 1.5% of that partition. Bit of a recap real quick. So it took me 2 months after my gap year to kind of bottom out and become profitable. Since then, I've been parabolic. I've gone through 2 50% drawdowns and a lot of other 25% drawdowns, again, of my partition. So I wasn't risking my entire $30,000 account blowing up, $30,000 account. That's just the example, blowing up. I wasn't risking it all. I was risking $3,000 of it, so that if I blew that up, I could easily reload with my part-time job, which I have now quit, or I still had $2,000 above PDT to test out. I'm not blowing up anything. My entire account, people always say you gotta blow up a few accounts before you become successful. That is not true. At least for me right now, 2+ years into the journey, I've never blown up an account. I will say that my max drawdown was like 2,000. Like I lost 2,000 total. That's how much in the hole I was, and that's because I started out with $10 to $40 risk, and I kept it there. 1.5 years in, I kept my risk that low, and that's because I just, you just gotta learn. You just gotta get through the learning curve, and that's what the beauty of trading is. You can risk so little and learn so much, and then when it counts, when you have those lessons and feel confident, you can actually put the size where it matters. But I wanna upload more YouTube videos this summer with the slower market. I have this journal right here that I started doing right around the time that I began the gap year and this whole journey of becoming profitable and compounding. And there's a lot of stuff in here, just like random stuff, like maybe a week that I was really frustrated and couldn't find a solution to a fix in my system, or whether it's just ideas and whatnot. Like also I've read a lot of books since I've had a lot more time, so I've read books, and I love books so much. Like I feel like most of the books I read, and I get like 1 to 3 key points that I can apply to my life from them, and it's just changed my whole outlook on life, like the books alone. And I've also done a lot of traveling, which you guys can see the vlogs down below. I've seen my trader friends all the time, and I've gone international twice since starting the gap year, and that has been an eye-opening experience, and this is just the beginning. I'm gonna continue that for a long while, but all the life lessons are in this journal, and I kind of want to just talk to YouTube about it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this video. I just needed to provide a 1-year update, and that was it. And when I find time, I will upload more of these, but no promises. But yeah, peace out.